It is August 27th and T-minus 4 days left in order to get the greenhouse operational. I put on the south end wall of the high tunnel yesterday, and I didn't get the roll-up pipes installed last night because I was just too wiped out from the heat yesterday. So what I'm going to do, I'm getting an earlier start today, and so what I'm going to do is put the north end wall plastic on first while it's still a little bit cool and the sun hasn't come up over the trees yet. And then I'll work on these roll-up pipes later on today. Alright, the north end wall is going to be very similar to the south end wall that I put on yesterday. Just got to get my ladders in place, get the plastic rolled out, and then just repeat basically what happened yesterday. It'll be a little bit different because we've got to make some cutouts for the doors, but essentially the same process: hauling the plastic up, leveling it off, and then putting the wiggle wire on. I'm in the greenhouse now, and I've got the plastic cut to length for the north end of the greenhouse. I'm going to be putting that right up there, and I've got it marked for the center, and just like on the south end, I've got both sides marked along the way. So it will give me a frame of reference for the putting it up and squaring it up on the sides as I put this up. So next stop is to pull it up there and get it put on. All right, always easier the second time around. I've got the plastic pulled up here in the center. Based on the mark that I had, got a couple of clamps up there holding it in place, and now what we're going to do is stretch it over here on the corners based on the marks that I put on the side of the plastic. That's about 6 feet to about right there, and so we're going to set that up, and then I'll be back with you in just a minute. All right, I got the plastic in place temporarily, just as a ballpark. It's very important, I might want to point this out, it's very important to make sure that this plastic overlaps the wiggle wire on the side. The tolerances here are pretty tight, so you can see that the mark is right up there. That's not as important as being able to have this plastic cover the wiggle wire channel all the way down equally. If you can get that plastic equal on both sides, it's going to be square. You can just pull it up to the top and nobody cares. The importance of this is in the summertime, the plastic will be rolled up and this is not a big deal, but in the wintertime you want to be able to pull this plastic over and put wiggle wire in it and seal the corners of the greenhouse up so wind and whatnot and the cold air won't get in. So next step is to start putting the wiggle wire in. Okay, I've measured and I've marked these 2 pieces of wiggle wire because I'm going to be installing this from up above, and I need a mark close to the end here to show me where this joint is right here, because I'll be laying the wire directly in going up that way, and this wire will be sticking out until later. This is going to be permanently installed here, that won't roll up, and so I need just a little bit of wiggle wire to go from here to there, and that's what that mark is for. So when I'm up there on the ladder up on top, climbing around up there putting the wiggle wire in, I won't have to wonder how long of a piece of wire that I need. From a bird's eye view, you can see that I've got the wiggle wire done on the right side of the front of the greenhouse, or the north wall, and I've got a little gap here that's about 18 inches long. I'll cut a piece of wiggle wire, bring that back up here, and finish it off. Then I'll trim this excess plastic, and then it will look like that wall. All right, wiggle wire installed all across the top bow, and the plastic is trimmed. So now we're going to go outside and start cutting holes for the door and around the door, and then we'll take those last few wrinkles out of there by pulling it tight as we go around the side of the front of the greenhouse. Okay, got the plastic secured on the north wall, up and over. Can't really tell because of the way the sun is shining, but looks like glass, which is the way it's supposed to look. Got it secured above the door and around the windows, the openings for the screen. So now I've got to cut the plastic so I can get in and out the door, which has been a real hassle trying to string this plastic and go in and out, climbing the ladders, holding the camera, forgetting stuff on the ground, having to come down, having to come back out, holding the plastic. You get the picture. So I'm going to cut this door and then I'll be right back. Okay, I've trimmed around the door, and I've cut the plastic to make sure that it's just short enough that it will go into this drip rail above the door, so we're not going to have water dripping down in there. I left these wide on the side so that I'll have room to maneuver whenever I'm putting in the roll-up sides. So I was thinking to install the louvers on both ends of the plastic, but we're supposed to have some storms come through, and I think it would be more prudent if I installed the roll-up sides or the roll-up bars onto the bottom of the plastic. And I'm going to start on the south end, which is the biggest piece of plastic. So basically what you've got here is when you buy the roll-up sides, you get some of this metal pipe, and they're 10 feet long, so you have to trim it to the size that you need. Also, you get a crank. I don't know if you can see this here because it's black. There you go. And it fits better in the crimped end because you've got to drill a couple of holes in here and then put in Tech screws. Also, when you cut this to length, you cut it here on the non-swedged end. It goes into that swedged end right down there, and it will, then you put 2 Tech screws in that. Once the pipe is cut to size, you're supplied with some clamps like this that clamp around the plastic, or clamp around this pipe and the plastic to hold it secure, and you put these periodically down the pipe in order to hold the plastic on. So that's what I'm going to be up to next, cutting the length of pipe and securing it onto the end of securing the plastic onto the pipe. All right, we've got the handle on the end of the pipe. The pipe has been cut to size. We put in a couple of Tech screws here where you see that black tape, and then I covered it with some Gorilla tape so that that wouldn't cut the plastic. You can see that I've put some clips in here along the way, clipping the plastic to the pipe so it will stick to it on the way rolling it up. Also, something that I had forgotten was these boards, little boards at the bottom. There's going to be 4 of them across there, and that one's on there just temporary.
those are a rest for the pipe when it comes down, so it doesn't hit on the ground and rub a hole in the plastic. And of course, this strap right here keeps the plastic from flapping in the breeze. Also, we've got the crank on here, and I'm going to attempt to roll this up while you look at it. Another thing I want to call to your attention is notice how the plastic is wrapped on the inside, and that's the way you crank it up, because if you don't, the water gets inside the plastic. If you put it on the outside, water gets in there and it'll get all yucky and nasty. So we're going to give it a whirl. Whoa. Here we go. Plastic is a little bit long because it's going to be tucked in on the side over here in the wintertime along here in this track. And just temporarily I've got a wire over here. Let me see if I can get this in the camera view. To slip over the end of the crank just to hold it up here so that it doesn't fall down. And that's it for now, because man, it is sweltering heat out here and I'm about to melt. My clothes are soaked, but mission accomplished.